Okay, great. Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, March 27th, 2024. Yud Zayin Adar Bet Tafshin Pei Daled. I'm Revah Emunah. We're recording via Zoom from Tzfat. This is based on, this is Rivkah Emeinu. It's either part 6 or part 7. I'm sorry. I'll have the women who upload the content check it. Again, I'm not sure, 6 or 7. This is based on the work of Hagav Nir Menussi and his sefer Zot Olah, okay, which is really the codes about how we grow consciousness and how we elevate and how we step into our higher, fuller, more healed, more compassionate selves. And as taught through the lens of Kabbalah and Chassidut, and using the archetypes of the Imahot, of the Holy Mothers, and our holy female ancestors, of not just Jewish, but right, of all of humanity. We started with Revah, to learn the codes and the pathways for this process for each of us individually and collectively. So one of my oldest and dearest friends had an emergency surgery yesterday, and I guess he's out of surgery because I just got a message pop up on my computer. So may this learning be for the continued healing, Hachlama Shlema, Hachlama Meira, Refuah Shlema, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf, for Zachariah Tzvi ben Shena Rachel. We've been doing this spiritual journey together for an enormously long time. Yeah, may this learning bring deep healing for all of us, and great nachat ruach to the Ima Ila'a and Abba Ila'a. Okay. So we are on page 94 in Rivkah Emeinu, in the Sefer Zot Olah, and it's the name of the paragraph is Shiurim Bezugiyut, lessons in partnering and soulmating. I think we did do this, and maybe I'll just do a little quick review so that we can connect the two pieces. Okay. Biyotam hazug hamonomogi arishon mikera avotenu ve'imotenu. So Yitzchak and Rivkah, right, Isaac and Rebecca, as being the prototype of the first monogamous couple of, right, from our holy fathers and mothers. He'eniku lanu Yitzchak ve'Rivkah benisu'ehem shnei shurim gdolim bezugiyut. And they've left us this legacy of two unbelievable lessons about marriage, about love, about partnering, about what this looks like to really partner and really share love in this intimate and beautiful and full and healthy and healing way. Hashiur harishon, so the first lesson, kashur bekisui pnei hakala behinuma. He says now, the first thing we're going to explore is, why do we have a minhag in Am Yisrael? Why do we have a custom of the bedeken, right, before the chuppah, so before the wedding ceremony? There's another mini ceremony. Obviously, I'm speaking about Ashkenazi Jews right now. Sephardim have a different minhag. But in Ashkenazi Jews, Eastern European Jews, have a minhag or a practice that before the wedding ceremony, there's a different ceremony called Kabbalat Panim, or a bedekin, and the bride is sitting usually on a beautiful chair, and she's unveiled, and the man, the chatan, the groom comes and sees her unveiled first, right? Again, each detail is very important, and then covers her face with a veil, right? So what are the mystical inner reasons if you've ever seen this practice? And there's many. Okay, and he says this comes from Rivkah Emeinu. Kol hazchuyot al minhag zeh shmurot leRivkah. Right? It says all copyright rights reserved to Rivkah Emeinu for this beautiful practice. Behigia le'eretz Kna'an uberota et Yitzchak b'sadeh. So when Rivkah came to the land of Canaan, which was the land of Eretz Israel, Canaan, right? And when she saw Isaac, Yitzchak, in the field, Hona Rivkah leEliezer, Rivkah turned to Eliezer, v'shoelet oto, and she asked him, Mi ha'ish halazeh haholech b'sadeh likratenu. Right? She says, oh my gosh, I've never seen a human being like this. Who is this man? Or in our terms, it'd be like, oh my God, who's that cute guy? He's so cute, right? Is he single? But it's so deep, right? She says, who is this man who is walking in the field coming to greet us? And of course, the Holy Masters teach that that's a hint to Elul, to Hamelech Basadeh, to the Chakal Tapuchin Kadishin, right? But for now, let's make it a little bit more human. Hu Adoni. And Eliezer answers, he is my master. In other words, not that I'm a servant, right? He's saying, I study how to be an elevated being, and particularly elevated, healthy masculine from him. He's my number one teacher. Well, Avraham was his first teacher, but then Yitzchak was his next teacher. Okay, Meshiv ha'eved. Tkuvat Rivkah ha'instinctivit. Okay, instinctual, for those of you who want to know. Hi lakachet et seifa v'lehitkasot bo. Now, this is so deep. This is so deep. Like mamish, this is like the inside Torahs, okay? Because Rivkah's first response upon seeing this being was to take her scarf and cover herself, wrap herself, hide herself. Okay? הדוחף של רבקה לכסות את פניה לפני המפגש עם בעלה נובע מתחושה עמוקה שלקראת הנישואין יש לגונן על הפנים, להסדיד ולקדש אותן. Okay, she says, she didn't cover her face. She covered her face, right? So she didn't cover her face because she felt shame. She covered her face that from an instinctive understanding that everything inside of her was about to be elevated and changed and purified forever. So remember, the word panim, face, is also the word for pnim, your inside, your inner landscape, your inner world, your inner system, right? So she covered, her instinct was to go in. Hapanim hen mitzad echad chalon el hapnim. Says a face, a panim, it's got a double function, the same way an orange peel has a double function, the same way a Purim costume has a double function, the same way our clothes have a double function. They both conceal and reveal. They conceal something we don't want seen or known, and they reveal something about us that we do want seen and known. Right? That's what clothes do. That's what a Purim costume does. That's what a face does. Like, let's say we're really hurting and we're in grief, but we don't, A, want to burden anybody else right now, and B, we want to be alone. We don't want to be supported. So we might show up like this, even though that's not really what we feel on the inside. So we're concealing something in order to reveal something else. Okay? Shikuf shel ishiyotenu. So it says sometimes our face or our clothing or our Purim mask or the role that we play in the world is a true reflection of Toho Kaboro, our insides and our outsides lining up. So I look like something on the outside, and that's my same experience on the inside, right? It's a true clear pane of glass. But other times, mitzad sheni masecha ha'asuya lehastir otam. But I can also use my face and my expressions and my clothing and my Purim mask to conceal something I don't want seen, or to hide, right? To hide my true self, to hide something I don't want seen. Okay, so far so good. Mabat she'eno mesugal lachdor keraui lifnai velifnim asui lachalalan לחשוב את הפנים החיצוניות שאינו מסוגל לחדור כראוי לפני ולפנים. Sorry, I skipped a line. לחשוב את הפנים החיצוניות לפנימיות האדם. He says, now, something that we're trying to heal in the world right now, God bless you, is the confusion that we think that what we see on the outside is always the truth of the person's insides, right? We think we can know the person by looking at their outside, right? It's a mistake a lot of us make. Sakana zu nishkefet bimiuchad mitzido shel hagever. And this tendency is much stronger on the side of the masculine, right? That a man equates a woman's physical beauty or presence or her energy, but all of that, what he sees and experiences on the outside, as being her true value, right? And he says, and for some reason, the master of the world, God created it that men do have this stronger tendency to look for the outer beauty of a woman and to equate that with her worth and her value. Shemabato mu'ad mitiv'o, and this perspective, God created men with this tendency, right? Yoter mehamabat hanashi, where the feminine has a different perspective. The feminine tends to just have a different, more inner experience of the person. Obviously, these are generalizations. We're talking about the overall masculine and the overall feminine, right? Where the overall masculine tends to look at things from the outside in, the overall feminine tends to look at things from the inside out. And value in masculine terms is more connected to your outer beauty. And value is more connected to inside, from the inside beauty, if we want to call it that, from the feminine perspective. Okay. Again, we might also understand that we're talking about Gever and Isha here, or Zichri and Nashi, masculine and feminine, also as masculine being more like the soul, and the feminine being more like the body. So, right, she would be perceived more in terms of her body. Okay. Lalechet Shevi achar yofi hamar'a ulechashvo lechazut hakol. He says, yeah, Hashem, for whatever reason, set up the masculine system. By the way, I could say this because it's written by a man. I'm not saying this. This is Nir Menussi saying this. He says, right, men are designed in such a way that they go after outer beauty. And to think that that is an expression of the whole woman and the whole person, and that's her whole value, and that's her whole essence, and that's her whole beauty. Okay. Kisui pnei ha'isha b'sha'at nisu'in, covering a woman's face at the time of the wedding, of the marriage, mishamesh mitiskorit la'ish. It's actually meant as a spiritual guideline, like a spiritual support for the man. Pnimioti eina noda'at lecha, that you don't know my insides, right? Don't think that my face is who I am. Don't think my body is who I am. My body is my clothing. It's an expression. It's a vessel for my light, for my soul. But please don't confuse my form with my essence. Please don't confuse my form with my essence. Okay? אתה נושא לאישה עומקים שייקח לך נצח להכירם. You are not just marrying a body. You are marrying and connecting to another soul, and not just any soul, but a feminine soul whose depths will take you all of eternity, if ever, to fathom. Right? And it's this invitation that what is the feminine? What is a woman? What is a vessel? What is form? What is a body? What is Shekhinah? Right? All of these things, like, we're going to go on this journey together. And I am for you. I am the Shekhinah. I am your oracle. I'm your mirror. I'm your reflector. I'm the vessel to bring your children into the world. I'm the vessel to grow your potential. Like, it's so much more than just, oh, you're beautiful and this looks fun. Why not? Right? Halal zot v'te'abed oti, kabed zot v'tiskebi. Right? If you forget this, you risk losing me. If you think I'm just like there for your physical pleasure, or to have like this perfect kind of body, or to try to please you, to have a very specific type of form that you want, and you're going to lose me. But if you understand that I am some precious gift that's being gifted to you now to help you unfold your own potential on every level, in every way in the world, to learn about your own heart and your own soul, and what is it really to have a body and grow another being in your body, like all of these things I can share with you. But if again, this is his lashon. He says, right, if you only see me as a body for your pleasure, you will lose me. But if you honor all of the depth and all of what God is giving you right now by gifting you the feminine soul, right? The feminine other half of you, then you will really merit. שיעור הזוגיות השני שמלמדת אותנו רבקה קשור בנישואין עצמם. So that was the first lesson that Rivkah and Yitzchak left us as a legacy. Very deep and very beautiful. And the second is connected to their actual marriage, the marriage of Rivkah and Yitzchak. ומופיע שני פסוקים מאוחר יותר. And it really comes to light, and we really see this 2 psukim or 2 verses later when it says Vayevieha Yitzchak ha'ohala, and Yitzchak brought Rivkah into his tent, which was actually his mother Sarah's tent. Oh, sorry, it actually says that. Okay, Vayevieha Yitzchak ha'ohala Sarah imo. So Yitzchak brings Rivkah into the tent of his mother Sarah. Vayikach et Rivkah, v'tehi lo leisha, vaye'ehaveha. And Yitzchak took really unto himself, right? Rivkah, which means, right, he married her, and obviously in every way he married her, including Tashmish Amitah. V'tehi lo leisha, and she, through that act of him really taking her to himself, she becomes his Isha, Vaye'ehaveha, and this deep love for her starts pouring out of him and into her and through her. And you can hear that because this is a word we never see anywhere else in Torah. We see Vayahov, and somebody loved somebody, but this is Vaye'ehaveha. This is this very, very, very expansive expression of the depth of how much he opened to connect with her and see her and give to her and be one with her. Shlosha pa'alim mofi'im b'pasuk zeh lifnei shemegi'a pu'ulat ha'ahava. He says, what they left us was this legacy of how real eternal love is developed. In what order? Yitzchak mevi et Rivkah le'ohel imo. Yitzchak brings Rivkah to the tent of his mother, who of course has passed, right? Lokeach ota eusin, right? So here they translate lokeach ota means eusin, meaning they got engaged, but here it's also talking about a halachic engagement. And beautifully, eusin is really about everything that the man promises to provide for the woman, right? They're not yet married, so he's not yet receiving the benefit and the light. And again, the Torah is giving us this amazing legacy of what, not how to catch a man in 10 easy steps, although it sounds like that, but how to bring out the highest consciousness and das from each other, right? And that when it unfolds in this order, it helps the man to elevate, to step into, like, right, that he's being called into giving to her, seeing her as more than just a vessel for his pleasure, right? And activating his heart centers and activating his higher consciousness to be kind and compassionate to this being and to help and support this being and to provide for this being, which it sounds like a lot of giving, and it is. And at the same time, it's in the interest of him transitioning into being a higher being, right? A being who holds higher compassion, holds higher wholeness, is a source of goodness and trust and safety and compassion and kindness for the Shekhinah through this woman, through this particular woman. היא נהיית לו לאישה נישואין, ורק אז הוא אוהב אותה, right? And again, it sounds like a 1950s textbook for how to get a man, like don't sleep with him until you're married, right? And yeah, we could learn it like that, but obviously the Holy Masters are much deeper than that. And the Holy Masters are teaching us how a woman can hold a certain space in this relationship that really encourages his higher self. And when they're both in those spaces, they're both going to have so much more bliss and happiness in their connection. Because again, there'll be less fear and shame and unworthiness and using and those type of energies that tend to separate us, right? Okay. Masar hapasuk baru. So there's a very clear message being given. Ha'ahava eina rak hama'ayan hamenavea et avodat hahitmasrut v'hahitchayavut. So again, this is a man writing this. So I think it's really profound that this is like a teacher, a Rav today in Am Yisrael, and he's teaching the masculine that real love flows out of first taking on further commitment and further responsibility to this being. That's love. If a man is not offering commitment and further responsibility to care for this woman, then he says that's not the fullest, highest expression of love. It could be a different love. Maybe it's a love of friendship. Maybe it's whatever it is, but it's not a love of a husband and a wife. A love of a husband and a wife is that before the man before he uses her, right, and diminishes her to just a form, he grows by stepping into giving and caring about her welfare before his own. And of course, in turn, that arouses within a woman that she wants to, and again, in a healthy relationship, that she wants to care about his welfare more than her own, right? It becomes hadadi, it becomes flowing and mutual. Elegam ubeikau, he says, and also, but even like mainly, hanaha hashofea mitoch ha'avodah hazu. He says, and it's so interesting because love is actually this beautiful and authentic and real energy that actually flows out of a man when he has elevated into taking on more commitment, right? Hitchayavut, and more responsibility, achrayut, for another life, for another being, and not just his own. And then eventually also the kinderlach, right? Le'achar shzu hat'ama ein libnei hazug lechakot lenefila le'ava, to fall in love b'le'uz, ele l'shanam matnaim u'lehatchil litfos b'ma'ala garam hamadregot hamovil eleha. This is very, very deep Torah. I'm going to read it and then translate it. כשמעוררים אותה היא אמיתית לגמרי, לב פועם שחמימותו מתפשטת באיברנו באופן שאין לטעות בו. פעולת ההערה פשוט לוקחת זמן ועבודה, ויכולה להתרחש בעיקר אחרי בריתת הברית המשותפת. So again, he's saying here, we all yearn for love. We all want love. We would never say don't get married and don't have love. But he's saying what we want is real love. We want real love, which is, again, always foundational on that it's compassionate and it's not using the other person. It's being in service to God, really, which is to be in service to each other. Where one isn't taking advantage of the other, and one isn't ruling over the other, and one isn't using the other, right? But each is benefiting, truly benefiting the other. And he says, right, that energy is the vessel for true love, right? Not an ahava shetalui b'davar, not a love that, somebody wants our body and then they sleep with us and then they break up with us, because we learned that from Amnon and Tamar, right? That the Torah gives us the classic example of ahava shetalui b'davar. Love, but it's not really love, because it's love that's dependent upon getting something from the other person, some type of pleasure or some type of validation. And once we have that, we throw the person away, unfortunately. Okay, so he says, no, that's not the type of love that we want to weave into the whole fabric of Am Yisrael. The type of love that we want to pass generationally and receive and give and receive, right, between all of us is real love, is a love that this being, I'm precious and valuable to God, to myself, to the world, and this other being is precious and valuable, right, to God and to themselves and to me and to the world. And you can feel from that energy, it creates a different vessel. It allows both people to really step into their higher consciousness, right? Step into higher levels of love that is beyond, but is beyond just form. Right? That it's more expansive. It's yes, it includes form, and we look beautiful and we take care of ourselves and we share passionate and sexy love and connection. Of course. And it's so much fuller than just that, right? And what he's teaching us is that men need this in order to be, they need the feminine to step back and hold back offering the form first, because as soon as women offer the form first, it takes longer for men then to come back to their spiritual insides. It's not impossible, right? But it's just a longer talich. Okay. Shnei hashiurim kshurim zeh bazeh. And he says, and if you deeply understand that these two lessons are intertwined, right? The lesson about, giving men this lesson that, can you see beyond just the woman's form? And can you offer her love and security and holding and partnership and protection and right, this beautiful, that you want to share your lives together and a vision together, and commit to that and step into the hitrayavut and the achrayut of that. And that itself, he's telling men, will grow you. It'll stretch you to go against, not in a violent way against, but in a stretching way against your nature, and be able to appreciate yourself and other beings beyond just your physical form or appearance, but but also beyond. Okay, questions, comments, anybody? Okay, beautiful. So I think we'll leave off here today. And I'm just wishing everybody a beautiful, peaceful, compassionate with yourself and others day. Okay.